Okay, week 29 recap for the Comedy Accelerator workshop down at Creek and Cave every Sunday or Saturday in Austin, Texas. So this was March 1st. This was our 29th time getting into the year again. So we had 25 plus people there. So every week now seems to be more than 25 people, which is good. It has good energy when you have that many people. I introduced myself in the workshop the way I always do, and then we just jumped into the career section, which we talked, first of all, like I try to do, to get people to orient to money as part of their comedy development, because money professionalizes you. If there were actually paid gigs and a lot of decently paid gigs here in Austin, everybody would approach this business very differently. Not that you have to do it just to money. You also need, of course, to try to be funny, have fun, all that good stuff, but money professionalizes it. And I started with money career. Like within 3 months or so, I was making money at Standup, and it just changes the whole game. And I think for a good way, gives you a lot more motivation. So we first talked about getting your marketing materials together. That's the first sign of a professional comic, is that when you are offered a gig or there's a potential gig, you can instantly send them an electronic press kit, a fresh headshot, your bio, your introduction, some video, hopefully a website, or at least some socials where they can check you out with good clips, which is hard to do. It's hard to do clips that just fit every different type of gig that you want, but it's something you got to work on. Secondly, we talked again because my background is dual background in performing and, triple background in performing, writing, and producing. I talked about, Sean asked about getting a writer's packet together. And I've gone over this before in the workshop, especially when we first started, but again, people come in and out, and so they miss a lot of things. It's all here on the Facebook group in the feed if you search a little bit. But essentially, you have to have a writer's packet that has 25 or so monologue jokes, 2 or 3 desk pieces, and 2 or 3 or 5 sketch ideas, with a little bit of that roughed in to see how the sketch would work. That doesn't mean you have to write new things every time for every job you apply for, but you should have a standard packet ready to go. Then you should refresh it every 6 months or so. You don't have to replace it every 6 months or so, but you don't want dated references. And I went over, basically that's how I got my first job, is I've got all my jobs in Hollywood through other stand-up writers. And on the Best Damn Sports Show, I had a 2-day trial because there was a job opening where they were running writers through to see if they could find somebody they liked. And a stand-up I knew I was looking for work, and gave me the head writer's email. I sent the guy my writer's packet that I'd worked on very hard for the last 2 years while I was a radio writing joke writer, writing just for morning radio. And so that packet was good. I had 2 top lists on there that were really sharp, and I had 25 jokes that worked, and the guy called me 10 minutes later and offered and told me to come in the next morning to start the 2-day trial. I ended up staying there for 18 months, and that was my first real actual Hollywood writing job. So you gotta have a packet always ready to go, and it has to be good. Then we moved into what I found really interesting for this week, and we'll end up forming some of the stuff that I do when I start teaching people stand-up script writing specifically. It's biography, because marketing materials are really about your biography. Kind of localized to your comedy biography about where have you worked, how long have you been working, where have you what achievements do you have, what specials, like it gives you a list of where to go to learn about you. And it also gives you hooks. What is about you that's interesting, unique, magnetic, different. And people have a hard time writing their own bios. This is why publicists end up doing it so often, and not really always doing it that well, because they don't really always understand what stand-ups need. But so instead of just trying to write about your whole life, which is a massive amount of information, you need to start chopping it up into specific things, and that will help you write about it. We did a writing exercise in class based on the writing prompt that I put out of, give me 5 things about you that are just exotic, super interesting. As soon as you say them, you know that people are going to want to hear more about that because you've done this many, many times in your life. And as soon as they get this piece of biography, everybody gets activated. There's a couple of people on Instagram who basically just walk around being tall. There's one guy who's 7'4", and he posted a thing a few weeks ago about, yeah, here's every question everybody asks me every day. How tall are you? And did you play basketball? And he's like, I just have to live with it because he's a walking biography element that everybody wants to hear about. But everybody's got that stuff. Just sometimes you have to cultivate it. So everybody took about 5 minutes, wrote down 5 things about themselves they thought were very interesting that would trigger people. Then we jumped out into the writing staff portion of the workshop, and everybody got into a 4 or 5 people writing group and ran their bio, and everybody functioned as a writing staff. Hit it with better setup, punch, tag, act outs. Those are the 4 that we practice all the time. And then we moved to the outside venue, the outside stage at Creek and Cave. So we had people go up, and every group picked one person to go up and do their bio line. And hopefully the improved bio line that the writing staff helped them with. But they went up and said it, and then they got feedback. So then the whole 25 people started giving them tags and new punches and new setups and new veers and new directions for it and things they hadn't thought of before. And so that worked pretty well. We messed around with that for a while. But then as soon as that person finished, I grabbed somebody else from their group and said, now you go up and do the exact same bio. You're going to play him or her that just did their own bio. And I want you to perform it better. I want you to add in act outs and energy and emotion and interest and quirkiness, whatever it is you can bring to the table, which is hard. Again, most stand-ups don't think of themselves as strictly performers. But it was interesting. Some people changed the script around as they went. Some people just tried to use their normal way of delivering. And I kept stopping them and be like, hey, I'm hiring you as a performer. Bring it. Bring something to this. Make us laugh with just the performance. So I think it was a really good exercise for that to understand, when you isolate even somebody else's biography, it doesn't matter. Turn it into script, give it to somebody else, and you perform it. You can either get laughs with it or you can just sit there and it'll stay flat. It's your job to get the laughs. So finally, we did all that, and then we finished up and we headed over to Shiner's Saloon for the second night of our stand-up showcase, our weekly stand-up showcase at Shiner's Saloon on Congress Avenue in downtown Austin. And again, it was fun. Like that venue, we've got it set up where it works pretty well. It's a little corner of the bar, and we'll soon have some video, I think, of it, where we'll video the whole show and we'll put that up where everybody can see it. But the gig went well. As I expected, we lost audience from the first week. First week, I think we had 12 or 15 regular audience members, a lot of them brought by Casey. And what almost always happens is stand-ups, especially around Austin, because you're doing so many gigs, it's really hard for stand-ups to draw people in because you've already used up all your markers with people. So we're going to have to figure out more as we go about drawing people to that location on Sundays from 6 to 8. But even having said that, it was still a really good vibe. There was 20 of us there. People were laughing, engaged, very friendly group. And to me, that's the main thing. Like, can we put a good vibe in the room? Everybody gets to go up and practice their set, their 5, and get it really, really tight. And hopefully we're going to do that during South by, so people will get a little bit of a credit of doing, a show during South by, a professional booked show. So there you go. Next week, we're back from 3 to 5. Keep working on the bio stuff. I'm going to try to focus on that for a little while, because if you actually look at most stand-up, about, 80% of it's bio. Most people are just reporting about their life, things that they've seen and experienced. They're not really writing like on assignment areas. It's more like waiting or going in and mining from things that have already happened. But bio is super powerful. People love to hear it, so you might as well develop it and see what you can get out of it. That's it, and we will see you again next week.